The empty provocation of Lars von Trier's The House That Jack Built. Here were reportedly dozens of walkouts during the Monday night Cannes premiere of The House That Jack Built, the latest film from Danish third rail enthusiast Lars von Trier. I heard talk of depictions of brutal child murder, debasement of corpses, and the Holocaust. So I fired off an anxious tweet asserting my dread about seeing it soon, slugged some rows with a few colleagues, and headed off to bed, fearing what I was to be made witness to in the morning. Which is annoying, both because the movie is not actually all that shocking, and because my worry and sight unseen revulsion are exactly what von Trier wants. The House That Jack Built is a tediously navel-gazing exercise in von Trier trying to explain, and make half-hearted atonement for, his totally twisted, man, worldview, an explication of his personal psychology that is almost heartbreaking in its conflicted self-regard. I say heartbreaking because I know there's real pain there, annoying depression that von Trier has been open about, and which he turned into beautiful, bleak, nourishing art in his 2011 film, Melancholia. I'm reluctant to criticize an artist grappling with mental illness, because so much great art has been born of that struggle, and because as a sufferer myself I know how consuming the experience of depression can be, how intensely one wants to yank it out of oneself and show that throbbing, awful mass to the world in the hopes of finding some clarity and, maybe, some peace. But I also know that von Trier's pain has manifested outwardly in ways harmful to others, whether in how he's reportedly treated actresses on set or his pseudo-Nazi sympathizing comments during a Cannes press conference for Melancholia. My empathy, I guess, only extends so far. To which you might say, who cares? A filmmaker doesn't need my empathy. But von Trier is ardently in search of his audience's care and attention, a fact he I suppose admirably lays bare in The House That Jack Built. The film is a vain, desperate plea to be seen and reacted to, a provocation whose gruesomeness becomes, by the end, banal. Matt Dillon plays Jack, a serial killer doing his terrible work sometime in the early 1980s, somewhere in America. The film was obviously not shot in America. In stilted voiceover, Jack confers with an unseen man called Verge, Bruno Ganz, a back and forth about art and awfulness that is mostly the filmmaker arguing with his critics and with himself. While the two men debate, we're shown a series of murders carried out by Jack, women and children laid to waste in varying fashion, the film constantly asking us if we're freaked out yet. And, sure, I'll give von Trier the satisfaction of knowing that, yes, some of the images he creates are operatically repugnant and wrenching, humanity violated in harrowingly cruel and intimate ways. But the metaphor here is lame. Von Trier is not a serial killer, or anything even close. He's a filmmaker, and no matter how far past the borders of taboo he's traveled, to date, anyway, his work is only as insistent a fact as we choose to make it. So there's a tragic helplessness to the house that Jack built, the film so violently trying to assert its inescapable and inevitable power while also realizing its limits. It's a self-loathing wank, achieving some kind of finish but no true catharsis, which Von Trier seems half aware of in the film, punishing Jack and himself, while still finding something frightfully awesome, in the old sense of the word, about the house of bodies he's built. Like any anonymous, shitposting internet troll, the film is keen to its ultimate insignificance. In fact, that's part of the game. But it's still smugly certain that it's rattled and disturbed you. The trouble is, we can see all of Von Trier's shocks coming. We've been shown them before in various forms, in his films and in countless other movies and TV shows. So all of his efforts to eject bile out of himself and onto us, which will make us finally get him, damn it, fall short. It's a whole lot of lugubrious theatrics to yield so little impact. On his technical merits, Von Trier is a talented filmmaker, and there are isolated moments in the house that Jack built that are plenty effective. I even liked some of the film's pretentious introspection. Von Trier seems to have an at least somewhat complex understanding of the criticisms lobbied against him, interrogating the way he treats female characters and the lazy uselessness of his nihilism. He has been listening and absorbing, it seems, which is more than some hard-headed, wannabe iconoclast men can say for themselves. Brutalism and alienation have their place in art, and I certainly don't think Von Trier needs to change his whole deal to reinvigorate his filmmaking, or to earn back his audience's affection. Plenty of my colleagues liked this film, so maybe that affection was never lost, but there's nothing productive or enlightening about the house that Jack built's grim posturing. It's undeniably interesting watching Von Trier so directly grapple with his own evolving legacy. The house that Jack built contains clips from his previous films, as it might be interesting listening in on anyone's therapy session. But therapy is contained and private. Therapy doesn't invite strangers to watch simulations of children being killed or a woman's breast cut off and used as a coin purse. I'm glad that Von Trier is continuing his self-examination. But I don't think I want to hear from him again until he's had an actual breakthrough.